What's up, nerds? We're back. Welcome to season 3 of the Unvaulted podcast. I am your host, Squatingdog, but Long John YouTube on Twitter called me Squatingdog. I know it's spelt wrong, but come on, bro. On this season of the podcast, we are keeping our hand on the pulse of Chapter 3 and following its evolution as a whole. We'll cover creative, casual, competitive, and our guest is an absolute legend at Fortnite. Has incredible game sense and wonderful content on Twitch and YouTube. If you're looking for someone to not only learn from, but also be inspired by, look no further than our favorite neon green, Zemie.
What's going on, Jeremy? How are you doing today?
Good, man. Good. Thank you for saying yes and being on this podcast, dude. I'm so excited to have you on.
Of course, man. I'm excited to be here. First time doing a podcast, and I'm ready to get it going.
Let's get it, man. Okay, so on Unvaulted, you know, we cover everything Fortnite related, and you've been in Fortnite for you've been playing this game for a long time. So I'm going to give some context for our listeners about you, just in case. But in terms of the intro, did I miss anything? You know, I feel like, how many crowns do you have in Fortnite right now? Is like 450,000.
I'm losing count, man. At this point, I just do it for fun. Yeah.
This guy has 1 million crowns. It's insane. He's really good at the game. Like, people come to watch his gameplay and his personality, and he needs to be known. So if you are listening right now, make sure you check out his stream. Come on by. It's twitch.tv/Zemie. Okay, Zemie. So the goal of this season of the podcast is to check the growth out of Chapter 3, and we want to dive into the game that we love, right? So before we do that, I want people to know who you are. Okay. So first things first, tell us about your origin stories of your Gamertag. Why are you named Zemie?
Okay, so that is a question I get a lot, and I feel like a lot of other content creators or just gamers or anyone that just games and has a Gamertag, a lot of the time they have a story behind that name. And for me, people expect that. They ask me that, and there's honestly no story behind it. I remember I came up with this name when I first got my PS3, like 10 years ago. And I needed a name. I didn't know what to call myself. I wanted something short. I didn't want numbers. And for some reason, the letter Z, I liked it, and I wanted it in my name. Obviously, Zemie doesn't mean anything. So I just had this list of random names. Zemie was the one that I went with because it just sounded cool, looked cool, and that's about it.
That's awesome. Were there any like contenders? Did you have like any other ones that it could have been?
Honestly, even if I did, I don't even remember. You know, it was so long ago. You know,
my last gamer tag was curly cool hair, and I lost all my hair, so I had to evolve into Squatingdog eventually.
You just had to make a transition. You know,
exactly. Yeah. So tell me a little bit of what got you into like content creating and Fortnite in particular. Like, what drew you to doing what you do now? Okay,
so I want to say I started making content and, you know, content creation and stuff with Fortnite. Before that, I used to play Counter-Strike, Global Offensive CSGO.
Okay.
And, you know, I used to play that game competitively. I didn't really stream much. I didn't really make a lot of content. Of course, I'd make like little montages here and there. And then I would stream sometimes, not a whole lot. It would be just kind of whenever I felt like it, get on maybe like stream 5 hours a week. But, you know, I wasn't a content creator. My goal was to become a pro in that game. And kind of towards the end of it, after playing that game, I put in so many hours into that game. Towards the end, it was kind of getting a little stale. And that was about 4 years ago. And that's around the time when Fortnite started really popping off and everyone was talking about it and everyone was kind of trying it out. And for me at that point, it was like, okay, not really enjoying, you know, CSGO right now. I'm not really happy with my progress. I kind of need to take a little break. You know, let's try out this Fortnite game. And I did that. And at the same time, basically when I started playing Fortnite, I started streaming at the same time too. Like streaming, I would stream before, but I would stream more consistently now. And I love the game, man. I got addicted. I would play every single day. And, you know, seeing the growth on the stream and just love streaming a lot, kind of just took off from there. Started doing every day. You know, not as long as I do it now, but, you know, it's a lot more than I used to. And basically, that's how it started.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little distracted for those that are listening. You have a Christmas tree in your stream room. When does Christmas end for you, or does it?
What tree are you talking about? I don't. Everyone says this in my chat, and I'm like, "What tree? I took it down." Like, no, man. But we're not going to talk about that.
Okay. Christmas stays up always.
Yeah. I will take it down. I promise. And next time I'm on here, it won't be there.
All right, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. Okay, so my next question for you is: you picked a color for Zemie and all of your branding that is like a bright neon green.
Mhm.
Is there any type of fascination with that color in particular? What made you choose such a vibrant color?
Green has just always been my favorite color. Ever since I was a kid, I just loved the color green, and just naturally I wanted to make everything as far as branding goes green. When I first,
Yeah,
because I made my overlays and everything myself,
that's cool.
and when I was making it, when you're making it the color you make it the color you like, and I made it green, and basically everything kind of just went from there. My skin is green now in the
Yeah,
game. Just everything is green. Just basically my favorite color. That's
that's
it.
awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be listening to this. They're going to pop by your stream. They're already probably in your stream, and they're going to look at you as like somebody that they want to be. I feel like that's a very common experience for people we have on the podcast. It's like, oh man, this guy gets to play video games like for his like life. Like this is amazing. So I'm curious if like from what you've experienced and what you've accomplished thus far, which you're always probably looking for the next thing. But what is one unique piece of advice that you would give to those who want to like follow in your footsteps or be like a content creator like you?
Um, I always say this on my streams too. The biggest thing, and this is for content creation, but really anything, it's consistency.
Mm,
Just being consistent, because it's not overnight. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's just that everything happens by being consistent and just putting in the time and effort. If this is one thing that I always go by, if it was easy, everyone would do it. You know what
right,
I mean? It's
right.
not. People expect results overnight, over a week, over a month. It's just not like that. And it's just consistency. It's that doing it every single day. It's putting in the hours, and then you'll see that growth and the results after a long period of time. That's basically what I did. Like up until, I want to say, I've been streaming for, like I said, 4 years. For 2 years, I was, it went from 0 to 20 viewers in 2 years.
Yeah,
But a lot of people
yeah.
would give up by then. They'd be like, I didn't get the growth. I'm not getting anyone. They'd give up. But I was
Mhm.
consistent mainly because I knew it's hard and it takes time, and I was enjoying it, so I didn't really mind.
Yeah, that's great. So what like I feel like that's something that's really important to capture for content creators that want to get in the space. Is like how much like mental perseverance you need to have during that like early season where you're like, hello, one person
Oh,
who
yeah,
is not talking to me and is kind of lurking,
yeah.
and still be entertaining, when nobody's watching.
Mhm,
What was that like for you in the early stages of the 2 years of streaming? I know you wanted to be like a pro in Counter-Strike, and you kind of pivoted.
mhm.
What was it like to kind of jump into the like streaming, pressing record, not seeing tons of results at first? How did you keep your positive spirits? You had mentioned like you just loved it, which I think
Mhm.
it plays huge thing is passion, is what I've experienced. Is passion really can be a good driving force. But what else would you speak to in those first 2 years of trying to get content creation going?
So it definitely was weird, man. Because when you're first starting to either make videos or live stream, it's an unknown territory, right? Like you're kind
Yeah.
of seeing yourself. I didn't actually have a webcam at the very first, but when I did finally get a webcam, like a month into it, it's really weird seeing yourself and then like kind of talking to people. You're trying to say hi, but at the same time, like you're live trying to play games. But it is something you get used to, and it's basically like how I looked at it was the people that are watching me are basically my friends. Like I'm
Yeah.
just chatting with my friends. Let's just say you're in a Discord call with your friends, except you're not hearing them, you're reading what they're saying. And
Mm.
it definitely, and I'm sure it's different for everyone. For me, it was a little weird at first, but it didn't take a huge toll on me, or I wasn't like, oh, I can't do this. It was normal after quite a not a long time, but it did take, I'd say, maybe a month until I got kind of used to it and then started kind of learning. But and having a passion for it definitely played a huge role. If all I was looking at was numbers
Yeah.
and all that, I would hate it. I really would,
Yeah. For
because
sure.
I'd say I'm not seeing any growth, no one's watching or whatever. But I was having a good time, and even if I had one viewer, I'd still be vocal, I'd still be talking. There was like no really silence, because how I looked at it is, if someone new does come to the stream, they're going to see you're speaking, you're talking to them, right?
Yeah.
But if they come and you're silent, they're going to leave.
That's
So
great.
yeah.
So now, I mean, now I would say you're pretty massive. I think you're top 10 of like Fortnite watched
Most
streamers.
watch streamers, yeah.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
It's crazy.
What are you most proud of in all that you've accomplished thus far? If you could look back at it all, like what are you just most proud of for yourself?
Well, first of all, let me say when people tell me, and this is what everyone says and like yourself, you said I'm massive, and it just does not feel like that
Mm,
whatsoever. It just doesn't even feel like it when people tell me like you're pretty big or you're like massive or whatever. I say I'm not. I really don't see myself like that because as far as how I feel about this whole content creation or about myself as a person, it literally hasn't changed.
mm,
But just to see the growth and see the numbers and see how many people I can influence, it's crazy. And what I'm most proud of is the fact that I stuck with it and took a
mm,
chance on myself. Um, and to get to the point where I am, where I can actually influence people and encourage people and entertain people, I have some sort of a positive impact in some way, shape, or form.
that's awesome. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean I've been lurking a bunch in your streams, and it's funny because like you're on when I'm like it's late for me, and
Oh yeah.
so I'm like doing my own content, and I like will have you on in the background. I'm always so impressed with how honest you are and how much you care about lifting people up, and that's why I'm
Mhm.
like really excited to have you on. I think those voices need more people to be influenced by because I
Mhm.
think we just need more positivity out there on the internet.
Oh
So
yeah.
I just want to say thank you, even for me, like for you doing that. Like that's really rad, super cool, and I think the moon is still on the horizon for you. I feel like you're going, dude. It's going to be cool to see your journey as we continue forward.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. Thank you. Like when people tell me that makes my entire week.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so let's transition a little bit to Fortnite. I got two questions kind of to finish up the icebreaker. Okay.
Okay.
This next one is like if you could have any collaboration, um, what would it be and why? Like Fortnite?
Collaboration with another content creator or
No, so like Fortnite's been collabing with literally everything,
Fortnite.
under
Okay.
the yeah. So like what Fortnite collaboration would you love to see in the game that they haven't touched yet?
A collaboration in Fortnite that they haven't touched yet. This
Because I
might
mean,
sound weird, but
yeah.
this is the first thing that can come to my mind. My favorite car brand is BMW. And you know how they did like a
Oh,
collaboration with Ferrari? If
yeah.
they do something with BMWs where you can, literally drive a BMW, I think that'd be pretty sick. Maybe get BMW skins with it too. How they
Yeah.
had Ferrari skins. That'd be pretty cool.
I'm waiting for the day where you can jump in a car and just like other games where when you jump in the car, it changes the skin of the car
Oh
itself.
yeah, yeah. It does that for the boats. I don't know why it doesn't do it for
Yeah,
the cars.
totally. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like it would be cool if you bought like Ghostbusters or BMW and you
Yeah.
bought like the minivan or something.
Yeah,
Like when
yeah.
you jump into a car, it just turned into the minivan. Like that would be pretty rad. I
It
think.
will be. I feel like they will do that eventually.
I
You
hope
know?
so.
I hope
Yeah,
so too.
that would be
Yeah.
so rad.
Yeah.
Okay, so then now I need to know. This one's one of my favorite questions to ask people. What is your unpopular opinion of Fortnite? What is an unpopular opinion you have about Fortnite that comes to mind that might cause a little bit of like, I can't believe you said that, or I totally disagree? Like, what is that? What's one for you?
Unpopular opinion, and some may say it is unpopular. Some may say it's not. The charge shotgun is better than the pump.
100%.
Do you agree with me?
100%.
I'm glad you say
100%.
that.
Yes, yes. And it's
Yeah.
like a higher like skill ceiling, I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like, with that
100%.
gun. Like,
You need to know how to use the gun to be able
uh-huh.
to hit hard shots with it. You know?
Yeah, pump kind of felt like a cheap like freebie in
Oh yeah,
comparison,
100%. Don't get me wrong. I love the pump. I love the play
Yeah,
style you can have with it. But the charge, is just way more consistent. And like you said, not everyone can just pick it up and one pump you.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I like that one. All right, so let's go even deeper. We're in week 7 for those listening right now. And Fortnite just released a few things, and so we're going to dive into all aspects of the new chapter. But upon this podcast being aired, we have just experienced Tilted Towers and then Klombos. How did you pronounce it, Zemie?
I think it's Klombos.
Klombos.
Yeah.
Like
I call him
Columbus,
Barry,
but
but yeah,
Klombos. Okay.
Klombos. Yeah.
I think I
I
say it
think
wrong.
so. Maybe I'm wrong too, but I hope I'm not. It'd suck if I play the game every day for 8 hours and not know how to say that.
You should know.
Yeah.
But upon your initial reaction, okay, you were deep into chapter 2, season 8. We got chapter 3. What was your like immediate reaction to chapter 3 as a whole, Zemie?
I was so excited. I want to say the last time I ever felt that excited for a whole, for an update was I don't even know, man. Like probably beginning of chapter 2, knowing we're getting a new map, and that was what, two years ago.
Yeah.
So just super excited because essentially we saw what happened between chapter 1 and 2. It was almost like a whole new game, and I knew something like that was going to happen again, which it kind of did. So I was super excited because you don't know what you're getting, you don't know what's going to be new, what's going to be changed, and incredibly excited, and I'm so happy with how it is so far.
That's great. Love that. Okay, so tell me what are the things you like the most of chapter 3, and then what are the things that you dislike the most?
Okay.
What are the if you could put some stuff out on the board there?
Okay, so what I like about chapter 3 so far, the map, amazing. Love the map. I think there's a good amount of rotation around the map. The POIs, for the most part, all of them are good. I may not land at all of them, but I think all the POIs are good. I don't think there's a bad POI.
Except for Cuddle. Cuddle has like 12 chests or something.
Honestly,
like that.
I think I've landed there like 4 times, so I don't even know. I do like the fact that you can actually buy mats from the NPC there, though.
Yeah, that's true, though.
That is pretty nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the map overall, I love it. And at first, of course, it was all snow, so or not all snow, but majority of it was snow, and I love that. I really like the sliding mechanic they've added to the game. Because I have played a little bit of Warzone here and there, like during downtimes and stuff. And I love the sliding and kind of just the movement you get with it, all the abilities and everything. And I think the fact that they added that to the game and the way they did it, I think it's perfect. So I really like that. I know there's a lot of potential for it. Not everyone has, kind of figured out everything you can do with it. But sliding is great. And I'm a huge fan of the MK7 because we haven't had a gun like that where it kind of puts you in that first person position. Yeah. And I love lasering people with it.
It's fantastic. It's also like our first, isn't it our first recoil weapon?
No. Last season we had the combat AR, which had crazy recoil.
That's right. That's true. Yeah, I agree. The MK7's like it almost feels like Epic is just kind of like, here you go, Fortnite. And then people are like, wait, what? You just added this?
Oh yeah.
And then people are like eating it up. And I think it's almost as if Fortnite was like, let's test this and see.
Basically.
Because the Ranger is nowhere near as good as the MK7, in my opinion.
Absolutely not.
I feel like when I land on those all the time, I'm like, why?
Yeah, but tell me about it, man. I can't get enough of those things.
Yeah. And so I feel like it'll be interesting to see if they add more of that. Because I'm really excited if they do. I think that'd be pretty rad.
100%.
What are the harder things, maybe the learning curves of the season that you're like, I don't know how I feel about these things?
Okay, so I think the first thing that you could kind of already guess what it's going to be is the spray meta. Okay. I think the entirety of the chapter, as far as the map, the mechanics, and the guns, everything for the most part is good. And if it wasn't for the spray meta and for everyone kind of just being encouraged to use their SMGs, it would be so much better. And I say that because I know the reason they do it for the most part is to get a lot of the casuals back into the game because, you can kill people a lot easier and everything. And I understand that. But at the same time, I feel like it takes a lot of the fun away when you're just kind of dying to the same way over and over again. So I think that's the biggest thing I dislike. And I know for a fact they will like change it eventually. Yeah. I just can't wait until that happens. So the spray meta is the one thing I think I dislike right now. Other than that, I don't know if there's anything else I really dislike. I think the one thing I've noticed a lot recently, I don't know if they just made a change, is the sniper spawn rate. Yes. I get snipers all the time, especially with Tilted being back. I land and I get 4 snipers. Yep. I don't know if that's just me or what, but I think they need to kind of decrease the spawn rate on that a little bit.
That was my first tweet to Epic Games. I was like, hey, could you consider maybe just making it a little bit less? Because I just land on 5 in a row.
Yeah,
and my buddy just got an SMG and just destroyed me.
Or basically, yeah. That'd be great if they could
So,
do that.
okay, so let's dive into the spray meta. I feel like I feel like this is a good conversation, right?
Mhm.
Because we came off of a different meta entirely.
Yeah.
And so it's got people kind of like very frustrated to like I like this new thing, it's a different feel. So how would you propose like to find a better middle ground of like where people are boxed up and there's no way you can ever get to them,
Mhm.
to everything gets completely melted away? Like, how do you find a middle ground that would make sense for this game, in your opinion?
So if I were to make any changes right now to the game to make it, I think what would be the most balanced with the guns and everything in the game right now and all the items. I know we recently got a nerf on the SMG, but I don't think it was quite enough to make any change. I think what needs to be done is kind of make the gun in a way where it can destroy builds, of
Yeah.
people, but not necessarily have enough ammo or do enough damage to constantly shoot them through the walls. So let's just say,
Mm.
for example, I hit someone for 150 and now they're boxed up trying to heal up, right?
Yep.
How it is right now is if I just constantly or shoot my SMG, they're not going to be able to heal up unless they have armored walls, because you're going to constantly shred through all the builds and hit them. But let's just say if the SMG had half the amount of ammo it has in the mag right now, I'd be able to kind of break the builds, but not necessarily hit him. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I just always have this kind of idea in my mind where if they kind of decrease the amount of bullets there is in each mag for the SMG, that would make a huge difference because you'd have a little bit more time to breathe. And I think that would be kind of the middle ground if they want to keep everything the way it is right now.
Yeah.
The
thing that I think would be interesting is if I feel like Epic doesn't play enough with the 3 different types of mats.
Mm-hmm.
Where I feel like if you put up like a metal wall or a brick wall or something, that the SMG is just like not good at cutting through that. It would be interesting if the SMG was the same for wood, but not the same for like brick or something.
100%.
Whereas like if you're like getting shredded, you could switch your mats and be better off.
Yeah.
I've always been curious of like why they don't mess around with that more, where we have like fire that burns wood. Like I always wanted like the new thunderstorms to like reverberate through metal, like it would be cool. Kind of cool if they like messed around even more with that to where it gave reason to cycle through stuff rather than it just being like an end game hard mat situation. But yeah, I think like either lower the mag, maybe less damage to builds, which is what I thought the nerf was originally going to be. Because didn't they just drop it like 1 or 2 damage? Isn't that what
they did that? But I don't know if it was damage for just body, like to another player, or just to mats, or maybe both. But I know when they did that for the MK7 and the SMG with the tilted update 2 days ago, they actually nerfed the MK7 more and they decreased the damage to builds. Yeah, but they didn't do it for the SMG. So I think the SMG still does the same amount of damage to builds.
It's almost like they should have done the opposite, where the SMG isn't and the AR can spam through, but like they're further away, so it
100%.
doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, and the fire rate isn't as crazy.
And you could put down an armored wall and still be okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's good points. I feel like I don't think we're ever going to find like a happy middle ground, but I'm like, I wish that we could just like be at a place where like the comp scene is just as happy as the casual scene, If we could have that marriage, like we would be in a sweet place.
That would be the perfect spot. But unfortunately, I feel like that's never going to happen.
Yeah. They're just
I don't know how it would. There's just always going to be either the comp community or the casual community that are not going to be happy about something.
Yeah. That's true, I think. Oh, well, we'll see. I mean, it's a huge task. I feel like the fact that they keep both of them so close together too is interesting to me, because I think they want the spectator experience to be the same as a professional. I think they want that accessibility that anybody can be really talented at the game.
Right.
But it's slowly evolving too, right? One has Siphon, one doesn't. Like it's just slow, like ever so slightly seems to be moving in different directions.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like this chapter brings it back together somehow.
Yeah, I think once again, I don't really play a lot of competitive, but from what I've seen and heard, they actually are trying really hard, it seems like, to kind of separate that comp and the casuals, but not too much. You know, like you said, they want the spectators, you know, kind of the way they're watching the game to feel the same. If you're watching, let's just say you're a casual and you're watching the FNCS finals, you don't want to be watching a whole different game, right? You want to basically still watch the same game. But I think they have kind of made steps towards making it so that competitive is a little bit more competitive and casual is a little bit more casual. For example, like they took out all the animals out of competitive. It wasn't like that before, which is, I think, a huge step forward. And I think all the comp players like that. There's a lot of other things too that I think, you know, kind of separate loot pool too. There's a lot of guns that are not in comp, but they are in casual. So I think they are trying to do that. Like you said, kind of keep it the same, but at the same time, make it different. I think if they just keep doing that, it'll be well.
Yeah, I agree. So my next question for you is, do you know anything about the lore of Fortnite?
No.
Okay, perfect.
I have no idea.
This is a great question. And somebody who has no clue what's going on, could you tell us just what if you were to make a guess as to what the story is? Give us the story of Fortnite.
The story, like the story that's happening with all the events and everything.
Yeah, like what is happening on the island? What is going on from a lore standpoint, in your opinion?
Oh my god, I feel so embarrassed because I feel like I'm one of the only content creators who's so out of the loop with the story of Fortnite. I've gotten a lot better with it, but you know, for example, I'll just be playing with someone and they're, you know, or watching one of the events and they'll point something out, be like, oh yeah, this happened in this other event, and I'll have no idea what they're talking about. I'm like, oh yeah, like, oh, is that his name? Oh, is that what's happening? But as far as the story, if I were to take a guess, it's obviously got something to do with like time traveling, I think. You know, like obviously times are changing and, you know, kind of there's like this loop, there's a 0 point, obviously, but there's people that are out of the Fortnite world or the island that are trying to take over the island. Yeah. And they're doing that by kind of messing with the time, I think. And that's just what's messing everything up, destroying the center of the map every season, making us have new maps, which is like the new chapters and everything. And then we have people who are trying to defend this, and there are people who are trying to take over and destroy the things.
I love it. And it's one of my favorite questions because there are a lot of listeners that love the lore. And so when people describe it and they don't know, it's just funny.
Okay, I need you to tell me what it is now, because what if I'm just so far off of what you just said and I just made up a whole new story?
Totally. Okay, so essentially, like, what, at least, you know, a sped up version is we are all warriors from different dimensions. Brought to the island to fight. And the only way that you can, and when you fight, you lose your memory and you forget where you've come from. So you're brainwashed, essentially. And so you have 22 minutes, which is essentially how long a Fortnite match takes, to win. And if you win and are exactly in the middle of the circle, then you break yourself out of the loop. And so if you don't, that machine takes you and you restart again. And so most of us are trapped in this never-ending cycle of this loop. And some people have escaped. So the people that have escaped the loop are the 7, which this whole chapter is about, right? We've got like The Rock, which is most notable. But there's 7 characters, and those characters wear suits that help them not be affected by the loop and what's going on. The IO are the people who are maintaining the loop and making sure that this evil continues. But inside the middle of the island, there is a power that is the most significant power in the universe. And so it draws attention to people like the Marvel and the Queen, who are trying to take that power. And so it's essentially this back and forth battle between the 7, the IO, and then whoever else is also trying to get in on the action. So that's the sped up version.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Honestly, now that you explained it like that, it's like I was playing a different game. Like I didn't know. It's like now it makes so much sense. So basically, the battle royale and, you know, the game's taking 22 minutes and stuff. That's us trying to get out of the loop.
Totally.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
And crazy. That's what's cool about it is like it gives Fortnite the freedom to create the metaverse, right?
Yeah.
because you have Batman, you have Superman, you have Aquaman, you have every
They can
type
do
of
whatever they want,
superhero. They can
basically.
put whoever they want in, and you jump in on the battle.
Is this
And
something that most people know
I
that
would
play
say
the
a
game?
majority no, but it's
Okay.
interesting because there's a massive audience that want to figure it out. They're kind of
Right.
like, what's going on? And so there's a lot of content out there that's doing really well, that's kind of navigating some of that story. And people
Mhm.
are like, oh, it's blowing up online. So
Yeah, I mean, that definitely blew my mind because after 4 years, I'm just finding this out now. Yeah.
that's great. That's great. Okay, so tell me a little bit about the current skill gap inside of Fortnite. You're a really good player. I'm sure a lot of people look up to you in terms of gameplay and like in the content creator space. I know I
Mhm.
do. What is the current skill gap in Fortnite? What would you say that currently where it is? And then what would you recommend to somebody who's like trying to get better to kind of like bounce through that skill gap?
Okay. So the skill gap right now is crazy. And what I mean by that is everyone, even the average player, has just gotten so good at the game.
Mhm.
Um, back in the day, no one really knew how to build, and if you just knew how to build, you simply had the advantage, right? It's just not like that anymore. Everyone kind of knows how to build, and not just build, but they know actually how to like box fight. They know how to do 90s, or they know how to do anything really for the most part. So the skill gap right now is crazy because I know I don't play comp and I play public matches, but I honestly, for the most part, run into players that are as good as me, maybe a little bit like less good, but like basically the same skill players, and that might be because of skill based matchmaking.
Yeah.
But even when I watch other streamers or other videos and everything, just casual players even know how to like play the game really really well,
Yeah.
and I think it's really gotten to the point where if you're someone that's just coming to Fortnite, let's just say you've never played the game or you took like a 2 year break, um, you're really going to have a hard time because you're not going to be able to build as well as everyone else, even the average player. And the only way, if I were to say, if you want to get better at the game, is, and I say this on stream all the time because people always ask me,
Yeah.
there's no secret sauce, there's no secret way of getting better. I can't tell you go do this edit course or do this aim routine or whatever to get better. I never do that. Any of that, you will never see me touch creative or do it like Kovacs or anything like that, like any aim training, none of that. I just play the game. And that's because when you're playing the game, you're touching all areas. You're improving your movement, your aim, your game sense, your builds, your edits, all of that. And yes, you're going to die over and over and over, but that's how you learn. Like I said, I always use myself as an example. People ask me like, "How did you get so good?" Just played the game. I didn't do anything. Back, like I say, 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, around like World Cup qualifiers, I would play a little bit of creative here and there. Because at the time I did want to actually get into competitive too, at the same time as like making content. So I would do like creative here and there, but I want to say like I haven't touched creative or any of that for like 2 years now.
Mm.
And right now, I'm better than I was a month ago. A month ago, I was better than I was 2 months ago, and that's all just playing the game every day.
So in terms of people that are doing like just creative,
Mhm.
I talked to somebody who literally only does creative, like took a whole season off just to do creative, and
Wow.
is now playing normally.
Yeah.
What advantage do you have over them in that type of situation? I can speak to my own examples, but I'm curious of what you would say to somebody who's just like saturated in creative and not really getting that game sense or natural fights like you are. I'm
Okay.
curious.
So I think what really matters, first of all, is what you're trying to do in Fortnite. Because a lot of people just all they do is like 1v1 other people or trying to do like get creative clips and montages and stuff. And if that's your goal, then yeah, sure, do
Right.
creative, right? That's how you get better. But if you're trying to get better, let's just say playing solo squads or solo arena or competitive, if you're sitting in arena or in creative all day, of course your mechanics are going to be insane,
Yeah.
right? But
Right.
you're not really improving your game sense. You're not learning how to rotate in the zones. You're just going versus one other player for the most part, right? And you go into an actual game, you're fighting one player. Sure, you'll know how to fight him, but what are you going to do when you're getting third partied by three other people? Now
Mm.
you got to start thinking outside the box. And if you haven't been in those situations a lot, you're going to a lot of the time mess up because you don't know what to do. All you know is how to crank and how to do edits and how to box people up, right? So I'd say if I were to say I have an advantage over someone who sits in creative all day, they definitely are going to have better mechanics than me.
Yeah.
But when it comes to other things, as far as game sense, when to rotate or any of that, I'll have the advantage because I've been in those situations a lot more than them. You know, I've gotten to experience all kinds of ways to die, to lose, or to win. You know,
one of my favorite examples was I was fighting somebody today and they were like insane. And I was like, bro, this guy's nuts. So what I started doing is I spideyed over to the Klombo. I can't say it.
Klombos.
Klombos.
Yeah,
I went over there and I knew that if he shot Klombos, that guy's going to be angry and totally take this dude out. And so he didn't shoot him. And I was like, dang it. So I ended up MKing him in the face. And so he's boxed up. Then I shot him, the beast, and then spideyed on the other side of his box. And he ran through and killed the guy. And I'm like, how can you learn that in creative? Like you can't. Like
you don't even know. Sometimes people I play with and they do all creative or maybe only do arena or whatever, and they don't even know half the things that are in the game. They're like, when did this get added, or what does this do? You know what I mean? And that a lot of the time that can cost you the game.
Totally. Yeah. And it's really fun to see that exploited, I think.
Oh yeah,
and like, to them, they're like so frustrated, but to me, I'm like, this is great content.
They're probably like, after that, he's probably like, back to creative. Not for me.
So tell me a little bit about we got 2 new additions and I'm curious of your thoughts on them. So the new beast, you named it Klombos.
Klombos, yeah. Klombos. I think I don't know. That's honestly how I'm pronouncing it, so I'm assuming that's the right way. Klombos.
What do you think about it? Like what is that for a content creator? Like I'm curious of your I feel like I'm just curious of your thoughts.
So I think it's super cool, honestly. And I think it's cool because I think they balanced it really well. Because obviously it's got it can give you loot, which is cool. I haven't really gotten loot out of it, but I know you can get loot out of it. And I think it's balanced because if it does get angry at you, it's not like crazy strong, right? For the most part, it's like kind of standing still and just kind of like yelling, but it's not like, kind of just destroying all builds around it, tossing you around. It might do that once in a while, but I think it's very balanced that it doesn't do that as much. And also it kind of calms down really fast. You don't have to sit there for 5 minutes for it to cool down. So I think they did balance it really well. It is, as far as content creation goes, I think it's really cool. You know how you can like feed it anything, basically.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you brought that up because I was actually thinking about making a video of doing a custom where I get like people to join, everyone that has a crown, and try to feed it 100 crowns and see what happens.
That's
or
cool.
Like as many crowns, because I don't know if it can eat a crown. I just wanted to try it. But I think it does kind of open up a lot of fun things for viewers to do, kind of mess around with it and do some fun things.
I feel like Epic's doesn't get enough credit for like creating an environment, like I feel like Slurpy Swamp or whatever was like cool because it was like an area where if you just sat in the water, you would get heals. Yeah. Like they really do a great job. And I'm really loving where they're going with chapter 3, where they're like creating moments that can happen that you make you want to play again. Where it's not like a stale map. It feels like it's becoming this breathing, living map where this creature, I feel like, really does a great job of representing like this adorable, massive creature that isn't overpowered, but can add a really fun moment to your squad, right? Especially if you're playing with friends and you run into it and one person doesn't know that if you shoot it, it like attacks you or starts shooting at you. Like it just creates a moment that's going to capture a memory for people. And I love that. I think it represents that really well. And then also there's like now thunderstorms and tornadoes, which is just it's not too overpowering, but it makes a moment, right? So you could be all boxed up in the middle of Tilted, and then all of a sudden a tornado is just like, hello, coming through. And it creates those moments. But yeah, what are your thoughts of tornadoes, thunderstorms, and moving in that direction of like things can happen to people given its environment more than ever?
100%. I agree with you with what you said about what Epic does with the environment of the game and everything. They've always kind of done a great job with that, keeping the game not stale, always cool new things. It's not just like get in the map, kill everybody, win the game. There's like so many other things to do that you can run across, and that's great. And as far as thunderstorms and the tornadoes and everything, I can't believe we've gotten to the point where those things are actually in the game, but I love it.
Right.
I love the fact that, you could just be running around. There's just a tornado right next to you, right? Obviously, it's cool, and it's really, really cool to have that in the game, but it also, they don't just put it in the game without it actually doing something. For example, Klombos, you can get on top of him. It's a form of rotation. It'll launch you. Tornadoes, you can get launched around. You know what I mean? So it's like they put it in the game to make it not stale, but at the same time, it actually is beneficial in a lot of the ways. You can utilize it in a way. And I think they do a great job with that. And so far, everything they've done this chapter, tornadoes, all that stuff, I love it. They're doing a great job.
And the NPC evolution is kind of crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like we still have bots in the game, and they're like, they haven't evolved much, I would say. They're due for an update, but
100%.
we get this creature that does so many things. We got Santa, who's like driving around throwing presents at people.
That was so cool.
The amount of NPC growth that we've seen in this chapter already is super astounding, and it gets me really excited about what could come like around the corner with not only bots but just like NPC engagements, right? Like the Storm King, I think, was the most notable, most boss-like thing that they added into the BR that was like, whoa, this is like a whole different game.
Yeah.
I'm curious of like what that evolution will continue to look like, because chapter 3 is already really delivering.
100%. Yeah. And I think as far as NPCs go, when they for the first time added them into the game, it wasn't in the best state, but that's once again because they had just added it. I guess they were like testing it. I don't know if you remember, I forget their names, but it was in chapter 2 in the early seasons. And it was these NPCs that would drop in a ball and get out. What do you remember their names?
The Marauders.
Yes, they were broken at the time. That was the first time we ever got anything like that, and it was broken. Right, they were so annoying. But over time, they've kind of just like balanced it out more. They've kind of realized what's right, what's not, and now we have all the NPCs that you can go buy things from or just talk to and do different things with them. And like you said, the Santa that goes around and gives you presents and loot. They're doing a great job with that. It's definitely evolved over time in a good way. And I can't wait to see, for example, where we are at in 3 seasons with NPCs. Yeah,
it's going to be exciting. All right, dude. Zemie, Tilted Towers. It's back, bro. Tell me what your experience was when you dropped out of the battle bus, headed to Tilted Towers. What was that like for you?
I'm so excited. It's been 3 days now, and I still can't believe it. I opened the map, it says Tilted Towers, and I'm like, no way, this is real. But I love it, man. I'm so excited. I've been excited. Obviously, a lot of people knew it was going to melt, the snow, and it was going to be tilted. And as soon as it came out, man, I had to land there. I've been basically landing there nonstop ever since it's been back. And a lot of the time when there's a new POI after an update, you land there, there's a lot of people landing there. Everyone wants to check it out. But I'm not lying when I say I've never seen anything like this. First 5 games, I landed at Tilted. The entire lobby was there to the point where it was lagging. I couldn't build. Everyone was teleporting around. It was crazy. So, I'm pretty sure my first couple games, I died off spawn. Either couldn't find a gun or just there was too many people. But I loved it. I wasn't like annoyed or anything by it. I was just so excited that Tilted is back. I would just keep landing there over and over. Over time, it kind of did balance out. Not as many people were going there, but I've always loved Tilted, the action, the constant fighting. And that's what I love the most about it. And I'm so glad it's back. So far, I want to say, obviously, Lazy's not even in the game anymore. But in chapter 2, I want to say like Lazy was the alternative of Tilted in a way, but nothing ever replaces Tilted. And I'm so glad it's back.
Yeah, it's really exciting, especially those that have played when Tilted was around back then.
Right.
Like it's such a nostalgic experience.
100%.
What's funny though is like I've dropped a few times and I tried my same drop spots and they hit different now. I don't know if you experienced this, but like I just remember getting plenty of mats with the like last Tilted. This Tilted, I struggle to maintain any source of mats, even in my original drop spots. And so I'm curious, I don't know if you want to leak this, but where are you dropping that like is successful? For me, it's by the water. There's
Okay.
like that small little house next to the bus stop, and it has like 6 chests really close together.
Okay.
That's where I've been going, but I'm
Mhm.
curious, where have you found success in Tilted, and what advice would you give to the listeners who are dropping there and dying no matter what happens?
Okay, so the main reason I go to Tilted is to get a lot of kills, right?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people land Tilted and kind of just play sneaky. They go around the buildings and everything. What I do, and this doesn't always play out well, I die a lot, but I try to spot the first weapon I can see on top of one of the roofs, either on the main building or any of the tall buildings, and land on it and try to just laser people, get a lot of kills. But that kind of sucks because when I do that, I'm wasting a lot of ammo while everyone else is kind of matting up, shielding up, farming and everything. I'm over here
Yeah.
getting kills. Now, by the time I've gotten all those kills and I want to go inside the building, I'm basically out of ammo and basically out of mats. So that's been happening a lot. So I've been trying to find a way to kind of improve that kind of gameplay and kind of, I don't know, just not die as much, right?
Right.
And like you said, mats are a huge problem. I'm always running out of mats in Tilted. So what I do, I have this cool rotation. It's not actually in Tilted.
Okay.
The rift location right outside of it, by the
Yeah.
water, the water.
The vault, right?
Yeah, the vault, exactly. So I land there. It's right next to Tilted. There's a couple chest spawns. So I land there. A lot of the time I'm uncontested, but sometimes there's like one player that lands with me. I land there. If there's someone, I kill him, farm up for like a minute, get whatever gun I can, and then I rift into Tilted.
Awesome.
And I have a little bit of match when I get into Tilted. I have like decent guns, and I kind of have an advantage over everyone in there. And it's been working out pretty well. No one
And you
sees
get that
you just
high
land
ground
on
with the rift, right?
Exactly.
So you're like on top of whatever
100%.
building.
You decide where you want to land. You want to go into a building, land on someone or whatever. So that's been working out pretty well for me.
That's great. I love
Yeah.
the red bridge as well, because you can get the Spider-Man mythic and loot up
Yeah.
a little bit, go to the gas station, and then flip around. And
That's also a really good rotation. Yeah.
that's great. That's awesome, man. Okay, so future Fortnite. We've talked a little bit about chapter 2, chapter 3. Like, what are you looking forward to for the future, both in your content creation, but also in the game? Like, what are some things that you're hoping for? Changes you had mentioned, maybe spray meta adjusting. But what are some things that you're looking forward to for the future of Fortnite?
So yeah, definitely spray meta. I think that's the first thing that needs to be changed. That alone will make the game so much more enjoyable. I'm definitely looking forward to that. But in a long-term standpoint, in the future seasons and everything, I really hope they keep delivering with the updates. I don't know if you remember, but Chapter 2, there were a lot of seasons where we didn't get a lot of updates, didn't get a lot of map changes, not a lot of POIs. And that kind of just made the game a little stale over time. I would still play it, but a lot of the time it would kind of just be like not as fun. And this season so far, and even last season, they've been doing a great job, having those weekly updates like we used to back in Chapter 1. I hope they keep doing that, for as long as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Make changes to the map, not crazy changes, but, maybe every other update or every couple months have a new POI or change a POI a lot. So far, once again, they've been doing a great job. So I hope they keep doing that. Just keep changing up the map. Give us new POIs, not little changes that's barely noticeable. Give us updates. Give us those cool new items as long as they're not broken, because that's a lot of the time fun too. Just having a completely new fun item, whatever it is. Maybe just a new gun, a new shotgun, or just a ridiculous item like the boogie bomb. So I hope they keep doing that because that does really keep the game going, and you kind of just never get bored of it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like there's something synonymous with map evolution and people's excitement to playing the game, right?
Yeah.
Like there's something about it. Like, and I remember, Donald talking about how they wanted to create the story of the island as kind of like the emphasis of Fortnite. And I feel like some seasons they deliver, some seasons they miss out. But I do think like there's something to be said about like, give us something substantial. I feel like we've experienced like the gnomes moved.
Yeah.
Like
basically,
great.
Like I didn't even know. Yeah.
And then there's like, massive stuff like where Marvel drops like a whole comet of a POI onto the map. And so I think like finding like a steady like expectation that gamers like us can hold on to, I think is really what we're looking for. It's like, okay, every 2 weeks, let's just do something, let's do something substantial where it's not like, okay, it's cool that the snow is moving. We get that. that makes sense. But like, I'm not going to be like, ooh, let's play the game because the snow moved all like there's only a little bit of snow left. You know, like I feel like more people are going to play because literally Tilted's here. And now there's this crazy beast thing that I can't pronounce is on the ground. Like those are the things that keep drawing people back. And so I agree. I think that would be a really cool goal. And I'm sure it is their goal, but I'm sure there's just some days where there's less content or weeks that there's less content. There's others that there are.
Right. 100%. I think they know that too. Like you said, whatever the reason is that they haven't done it for some time, you know, some seasons, so far it's been looking good and I'm hoping they keep it up.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It's going to be good.
100%.
All right, dude. So a lot of people listening, tell us what projects are we working on? What are fans looking forward to from content from you as a content creator for Fortnite?
So as far as projects that I'm working on, this is something I've said on my stream before too, and it's been, you know, a lot of people have been asking for it. It's not really related to content creation, but it's my merch. You know, that's something I've been putting a lot of time into, and a lot of people say it takes a lot. For me, I've been taking a lot of time, and I know that, but that's because I want to make it perfect. I don't want to make it just like everyone else's. So that's the one thing I've been working a lot on, and there's no other than that. There's no set project. I'm always trying to come up with ideas in terms of content creation to, you know, do things where not a lot of other people are doing.
Yeah.
For example, this whole crown thing they added this season.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people at first didn't really care about it. Off the bat, I was like, this is cool. Like, I'm going for this. You know, I may not have the most amount of crowns in the world, and that's not my goal. You know, I'm just doing it, trying to get as many as I can. Yeah. But a lot of people now care about crowns. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, one of the reasons why pub matches have gotten a lot sweatier. You know, a lot of people would grind for high points in arena, but now that's the crown is the thing. You know, people want to grind for that. So I'm always, you know, kind of trying to come up with ideas and do things that a lot of people, I think, would enjoy. And I think right now, you know, for example, the crown is the perfect example for that.
Got that crown counter on his stream. If you guys haven't been there, he's got a nice little counter there. It looks all shiny and beautiful. What are you at though? You know how many there are.
I'm at 373.
Okay. See, I knew you knew.
Yeah. I know.
Okay. So tell me, I've died to trying to get a crown in storms before. Has there been any times where you've died to try to get a crown because you didn't have one yet?
I don't know if that's happened.
No.
I've definitely, I think one time I tried to get a crown and I was getting sprayed by like 6 different people. Yeah. Ended up giving up because I was like, I can't get this crown. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure I ended up dying like 2 minutes later. So essentially me trying to get that crown did get me killed, but I haven't like gone into the storm to get a crown or anything and died to storm. You know, thankfully that hasn't happened to me yet.
My stream makes fun of me because I'll be like, dang it, I won, but I didn't get a crown. And everyone's like, well, why are you being a baby about winning?
Oh, no.
Like, but it's not a crown win.
Yeah. If you win and you don't have a crown, did you really win? You know, we've gotten to that point. Like, it doesn't make sense anymore. You know?
That's so great. I love that feature. I think it's going to be great to see. How many do you think? I mean, if you were to guess, how many you'll have by the end of the season? What is there a number? Are you going for a grand or what's the play?
Honestly, 1,000 would be really nice. Having that emote say 1,000, 4 digits, right? But that's a lot of wins, man. That's, you know, normally I was talking to my stream about this and I was like, guys, how many do you think we're going to have? And we kind of just looked at my previous seasons to get how many wins we usually get. And it's usually around 400 to 500.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. But I have, you know, I'm almost at 400. We've got what, like 2 months left in this season.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I think if I really pushed, I could hit 1,000, you know?
Oh my gosh.
That'd be nice.
Bro, if you do that, 25 gifted. All right. There's some extra incentive.
Okay, I'll remember that. Nah, just for that, I'm going to make sure I hit 1,000.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so in what ways can people support you? You didn't really plug your merch. So if you could plug that, and then also what's your support a creator, and what other ways can people support you that are listening to the podcast right now?
So my merch is actually not out yet at all, and I haven't really revealed anything about it. But you know, I guess if they want to keep up with that, is my Twitter. That's where I'll be like giving sneak peeks and reveals and stuff. My Twitter is just Zemie. Honestly, if you just look up Zemie on anything, you'll find me. Zemie on YouTube, Zemie on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram and TikTok. My supported creator code is also Zemie.
Easy.
Yeah, easy, man. And I always say the best way if you want to support me is just either watch the YouTube videos or watch the streams or use the supported creator code.
Cool.
You don't need to subscribe to my Twitch channel or donate or any of that. Literally just watching, that means the world to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any like final things that you'd love to say to those listening or wrap up words for anybody that's paying attention?
So the final things, I kind of want to touch back on what you said about people that might want to, start content creation and, kind of make their passion into their job, I guess you could say, or their career, make something out of it. Just don't give up. You know what I mean? Don't give up, be consistent. It's not going to happen overnight. And look at me as an example. Like I said, it took me 2 years to go from 0 to 20 viewers and I didn't give up and it paid off. You know what I mean? And make sure whatever it is you're doing, whether it's content creation, gaming or not, make sure you have a passion and you're enjoying it. Because if you're not enjoying it, then everything else is just going to be meaningless and you're not going to have fun doing it. You're not going to get very far. And also, I also say this all the time, be smart with it. Don't drop everything else in your life to chase your, content creation dream or being a pro or whatever. Be smart with it. Have, other chances in case things don't go your way. So for example, for me, I have a college degree. I knew if it didn't pay out or it didn't work out, I had my degree.
Yeah.
So just keep doing that. And I just want to say thank you for everything. It's crazy to be at the point where I am to even be on this podcast right here, talking to you guys, having people listen. And that's thanks to all of you guys. And I'm so proud to be in the position I am. And it's just a huge motivator and it's only up from here.
Totally. If Epic calls though, I'm worried about you because they might call you and be like, hey, do you want an icon skin? And then you'll be like, no, I've got this green superhero thing that I never take off. Like
Right.
if you're going to have to have something for them if that happens.
Yeah.
What would you think it would look like if they actually gave you a phone call for that?
If they were to give me an icon skin, I mean, so far all the icon skins have been like the actual person, right?
Right, totally.
So I guess I don't really have an option. Maybe I'll just put like a green morph suit on. One of those things, but it's just my face is sticking out of it. No, I'm kidding. But if I were to ever have an icon skin and it's me, I'd love that.
That'd be so good.
Obviously the green skin is iconic and it'll go down in history. Everyone will remember that. But
yeah,
that'd be amazing. One day, dude.
We'll look for it. Yeah. Well, thank you for being on this podcast. You are so awesome. And I'm so grateful that we got some time to talk and get to know each other. And also people listening can hear what you're passionate about, what's going on in Fortnite. You're amazing, dude. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you so much for once again having me. I had a blast. I loved it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. And of course, a special thank you to all of our listeners. Thank you guys for listening to this entire podcast. Feel free to connect with us on Twitter at Unvaulted Pod or the Squatingdog. Also, make sure you check out Zemie, and he'll release his merch hopefully someday. And if he does, you better be the first person to purchase. You can also check him out on Twitch and use his supported creator code. That is Zemie. Zemie. Yes, right. Zemie.
Yes, correct.
So thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day. Until next time, I'm Squatingdog. I'll see you later, nerds.